Hello. Oi.
Oh, hi. Hi. You know, that introduction clip that Linda rolls was just so long, and I've seen it so many times, I kind of needed to kill the time. It's been a long day here in Connecticut, but not so long for us to not spend some time with all of you folks. My name is Trevor. Linda Ray, the best thing that ever happened to me, my partner in life, love, and everything, is sitting on the couch over there because she's on kind of a hiatus for a couple of months and limited working, which is why I do all the meal prep, often serving her breakfast in bed because it's the kind of dude I am. And I am going to provide to you folks tonight, hopefully, the same level of unbelievable, amazing, and awesomeness service in answering your questions about SBA disaster loan program, about the COVID EIDL program, both in terms of compliance with the loan agreement that you signed and the ever thorny, ugly, bad penny that keeps coming back, forgiveness. We're going to talk about all three of those tonight. Thank you all for joining us. And if it's your first time here, if you have a question, we ask that you put your question into a single comment box. I can see the questions off to the side of the screen here. And I know Linda's saying we did that already.
It was in the intro video.
It was in the intro video. All right, I'll just go back to my book. All righty. Hello, Lisa Darden. The answer, I don't know if you want to stay for the whole broadcast, Lisa, because the answer to your question is no. They will never be forgiven, in our opinion. And I've been saying that going on 5 years now, since the early days of the pandemic. But we're going to discuss that in more detail later in the broadcast. I want to begin this evening talking about the SBA disaster loan program, notably with some of the major disasters that have happened recently. Hurricane Milton, Hurricane Helene, the wildfires in Los Angeles, which very sad to hear. Linda, I don't know if you saw this, but today a tornado hit Los Angeles.
Oh my God, I did not hear that.
Yeah, because there's the whole, I don't know if they call it, what kind of storm they call it, where there's a lot of wind and rain. No, not typhoon. See, I told you she's been taking time off. This is how her brain is operating these days, which is rather questionable. And most recently, Kentucky and West Virginia experienced some storm damage. I don't know the exact nature of a disaster declaration for those areas. For obvious reasons, because we have a lot of chaos in Washington, D.C., which none of us Americans need. We don't need that kind of nonsense, confusion and chaos. You know, we just want to get up in the morning, go to work, you know, make a few shekels, watch the Harry Potter DVD series at night with your kids or with Linda Ray on the couch and, you know, grill a cheeseburger on the back deck, you know, live our lives. That is why I don't know, because of all that confusion coming out of Washington, D.C., I literally don't know if there was a proper presidential disaster declaration for West Virginia and Kentucky with the recent storms. I do know there was some issue with regards to FEMA and possibly SBA reacting in those areas to help people in Kentucky and West Virginia. But maybe we will research that further and come back to you in a future broadcast. But the two areas I wanted to discuss for disaster loans are very important for folks in a disaster area. And so before I launch into that, just want to remind you all, if you are not already a subscriber to our channel, would you please consider subscribing? Hit the notifications bell. We don't publish a lot of videos, so it's not like you're going to get a bing, 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 bing bell every day, 30 times a day with our videos. We don't publish that often, but we feel and we hope that you agree that the videos we share are important enough that you want to be made aware of them when we publish them. And if you would be so kind as to share tonight's video with somebody that you know who is in a disaster area, who has either applied for a disaster loan and been declined, or has not yet applied for a disaster loan, because we're going to talk about that briefly in just a moment. Yeah, it's something like more than 70% of the people who watch our videos are not subscribers. So if you wouldn't mind jumping on the bandwagon, Linda Ray and I have been doing this now for 5 years, since the early days of the pandemic, when literally on day one, March 18th of 2020, which was pandemic lockdown officially here in Connecticut, we made a commitment to give away free information and free advice, because as a former mortgage banker, I was there when subprime was happening in real time. I railed and argued against it, to the hilarity of my colleagues in the banks that I worked at, who thought I was just an old geezer, completely out of touch with reality, you know. And I was competing against loan officers who 2 weeks before had been working at Burger King, and now they were driving big Mercedes Benzes because they were doing fraudulent subprime loans. What do I know? I was in it for the long run and to do legitimate loans. But I lived through that. I lived through the subprime meltdown and the Great Recession of 2008, and all of the loan modification nonsense that went on, and the short sale nonsense that went on. And I saw how all of the sharks and the scumbags and the criminals would come out of the woodwork and give away bad information to folks here on the internet. So on March 18th, 2020, I said to Linda, let us go out there and give out advice that small business owners can use to get through this pandemic. We didn't even know about the EIDL program at that point. We didn't even know about it yet. And we were committed to the same standard that we are continuing this evening, to answer questions and give away free advice. So please do subscribe. Please do like and share this video. If you got a COVID economic injury disaster loan, an EIDL, and you are trying to navigate some transaction of your normal business operations with the Small Business Administration, as you are required to do under the terms of the loan agreement that you signed, whether you're changing your address, selling assets, closing your business, filing bankruptcy, any number of things. As I always say, if there's a procedure at SBA, they have a form for it. If there's a request you have for the SBA, they've got a procedure for it, which means they've also got a form for it, a procedure and a form. And it can be daunting at best to the average small business owner. For that reason, we created our EIDL Resource Hub, which if you wish to purchase that, you can click on the link in the subscription, click on the link in the description, right? Len, you're supposed to be correcting me, like.
Well, listen, I'm just waiting for you to move on.
Move on?
Let's get on to some.
Moving on.
All this, like.
You know,
Housekeeping.
I watch a lot of YouTube videos of all different, types of topics. And I apologize if the camera's kind of bouncing around a little bit, because my iPad is kind of balanced on, let's see, here are the books that's underneath here. Earning the Rockies by Robert D. Kaplan, The Age of M, the collected great short stories of Mavis Gallant, American Libraries, American Christmas Stories, and Labor Day by Joyce Maynard. Those are the books that are underneath the iPad, and I keep shaking the table, so I apologize for that. And yes, so click on the link in the description. As I said, I watch a lot of YouTube videos, and last night we were sitting in the den, hanging around, flipping through YouTube videos, and we came across this one channel where this guy is hysterical. He talks about how awful life is in corporate America, which would probably be if you're one of those people living that life and you exit that life to become a small business owner, you are potentially part of our audience this evening or on our channel. In any event, we are often called out here on YouTube for our attempts to sell our products and previously our services. We no longer offer consulting, but we used to do that. And we often have people nasty comments saying, you know, you guys are hucksters. I love that somebody used a word from 1879 to describe us in the 21st century. Shills is another one. And why don't you just shut up and stop selling your crap and tell us what we need to know? You know, Edgar, thank you for joining us. And I was on the phone with Edgar yesterday, who is one of our longtime clients from the days of the pandemic, where we assisted him and his wife with their multiple businesses to get approved for the COVID loan program. And I had a long chat with him on the phone yesterday, and he was shocked that so many of you think that we're just here to do free shit. So that's my pitch. If you are going to deal with the SBA, you need our EIDL Resource Hub, and you can purchase it by clicking on the link in the description. Okay, disaster loans. I want to talk about two particular areas tonight in the disaster loan program. Number one, there are 3 phases of a disaster loan application. The first phase is the original application. You create a profile at lending.sba.gov, which when you open that up, that is the My SBA portal. You create a profile. If you're a homeowner or a renter, then you'll put your personal information in. If you're a business owner, you will put in your business information, including information about owner or owners of the business. That creates the profile. And once you've created the profile, then you click on search for disasters, and the SBA will tell you what declared disasters exist in your area that you may be eligible for in terms of applying for a disaster loan, of which there are 2 types of disaster loans. There is physical damage and there is economic injury. Physical damage is available to homeowners, to renters, and to small businesses. Economic injury is only available to small businesses and eligible nonprofit organizations as well. So the first step, once you have identified the disaster that you are eligible to apply, you will proceed to the next screen to begin the application process. Most of the application is completed on the My SBA portal, including filling out certain documents, such as what's called a 2202, which is Schedule of Liabilities, debts, that the business owes. Sometimes a personal financial statement, the IRS form, which as of late is IRS Form 8821, which allows the SBA to request a copy of the tax transcript for the most recently filed tax return from the Internal Revenue Service as a way of verifying that your business or your personal tax return is legitimate and verifying the income information that appears therein. The SBA may come back later and request additional documents. At some point, your file gets assigned to a loan specialist, and they have a specific deadline that they must adhere to in terms of processing your application. Sadly, the denial rate for the disaster loan application is astronomically high. In fact, it is so high, it is more successful in getting up to the space station than SpaceX is. Linda's cracking up. She liked that one. And that is a sad commentary on the state of the Small Business Administration, which, as we discovered through an article on NBC Universal that I was interviewed for, several of our clients were interviewed for, written by a journalist named Louis Cam. He spoke to the SBA and he discovered that the Small Business Administration at this time that he wrote the article, which was October or November, I think, and the SBA told him they have 2,800 full-time employees, 2,800 full-time employees. And yet the SBA's constituency of small business owners, you folks out there in the world, not counting homeowners and renters in disaster areas, just small business owners, the constituency is 34 or 35 million and 2,800 employees, full-time employees. Yes, they bring on occasional contractors and so forth. Of course, anybody paying attention to the news knows how that's going. And what you may not be aware of is that the new SBA administrator Kelly Loeffler apparently has either fired or is about to fire some huge number of those full-time employees from the SBA. So not only is the Small Business Administration living with a decades-old systemic dysfunction due to the Congress's failure to properly support the agency through funding and allowing it to, update its antiquated technology and hire more people. But as a result of that, internally, there's just not proper training of SBA loan specialists, in my opinion. And I say this for two reasons. I'm a retired mortgage banking loan officer. I was a mortgage banker for 30 years. I did specialized in government lending, and I have trained dozens and dozens and dozens of loan officers. I have run a mortgage company, and that experience comes to bear in the second reason why I know that the SBA's reps are not trained properly, because I had to deal with them during the pandemic, because we assisted thousands of small business owners during the pandemic, 500 clients who hired us, but many of you here on YouTube. And I interacted with SBA agents daily throughout the 2 years that the program was active. And I actually had a few SBA reps tell me on the phone, "Oh my gosh, Trevor, you know more about the program than my colleagues do," which is a sad commentary on the internal dysfunction at the SBA. And so we come back to this disaster loan program where the denial rate for disaster loan applications is very high. I'm going to discuss in a moment what we recommend that you can do to help you improve your chances of success. But I still want to go through the three phases. So the initial phase is the initial application. If your loan is declined by the SBA, you may request what's called a reconsideration. You cannot reapply for the loan. And you should never reapply for the loan. In fact, the system probably doesn't even allow you to reapply because they track it by your Social Security number. Unless your Social Security number was stolen by some idiot at Doge, then, God only knows what they're doing with that number. In any event, you cannot reapply, but you can request what's called reconsideration, which is fairly simple to initiate on the MySBA portal. You find your profile where it says your loan was declined, and underneath it, it says request reconsideration. You click on that. Dialog box opens and says, "Are you sure you want to do this?" Like, duh, yeah. I don't even know why you're asking me that. And then you can request reconsideration. They require you to upload supporting documents, which in a recent video I discussed how so many people do not know the reason why their loan was declined and therefore cannot submit supporting documents. Hang on just a second. I have this, Linda.
Yeah.
Can you see this on the screen on your computer, Linda?
Yes, I can.
Okay, watch this.
Oh, shit.
Okay. She's over there on the couch sniffling.
All right.
Makes me nuts. I don't know if I have misophonia about her sniffling or if it's just obnoxious all by itself. I kind of think it's the secondary, not the primary. Anyway, if you request reconsideration, if you want to request reconsideration, you have up to 6 months from the date that your loan initial application was declined. So phase 1 is initial application. Phase 2 is requesting reconsideration. If you are declined for reconsideration, you then have 30 days to request an appeal. The appeal is the third and final aspect of a disaster loan application. And hopefully in the appeal process, your file has been elevated to someone at SBA with substantially more experience than the yuckleheads who worked on it up to that point. And I say yuckleheads with all appropriate disparagement and disrespect, because as recently as Monday evening of this week, one of our clients, who is that Ann Cobb?
Yes.
Ann Cobb, oh my gosh, a blast from the pandemic past. All of our old pandemic friends are joining us. Cookie's here, and Ann and Edgar. Okay, and Tim, Toshiba. Oops, I used your real name. Oops. Okay. Where was I? See, that's why I don't say hello, because I get lost in my train of thought here. I threw the box of Kleenex at Linda. I don't have anything else. Trying to see if there's anything else I can throw at her. This is the pencil holder.
You're not doing forgiveness. You're doing.
We're not doing forgiveness. No, we're still doing natural disaster loans. And
Filing a reconsideration, submitting a reconsideration.
oh, appeal. Yeah. Oh, so yeah, Monday evening, we have a client in the Los Angeles area with 7 restaurants, and we helped him get all of his loans returned from the U.S. Treasury collections mess last year in 2024. And as part of that process, we got him into hardship accommodation for each of the business entities. Now, each restaurant is its own individual corporate entity. And each one of those corporate entities is 100% owned by the parent corporation, of which our client is the majority shareholder or majority member of that LLC with 2 other members. But that corporate entity owns 100% of the other business entities, okay? And all the tax returns are filed accordingly. And when I say that some folks at the SBA have never met a business book that they knew how to open, this is what was the email exchange Monday evening from a loan specialist working at the SBA interacting with our client. We submitted a hardship accommodation extension application, which I filled out for our client. That's what I do. I have been filling out applications since 1989. I'm kind of a fanatic about it. And I filled it out correctly, which is ownership, the corporate name, 100%. And then the signature line, a corporation can't sign, but a signatory can. And so we put in the person's name, his full name, for the corporate entity name. And this loan specialist couldn't understand that. And she writes an email saying, you need to correct the application and put down the names of the owners in the ownership box. This is what you are dealing with at the Small Business Administration, because Congress has completely disrespected every single one of you small business owners by failing to support this vital agency, which was created by Congress in 1953, both to support underserved communities, notably women, veterans, Native Americans, Asian Americans, Black Americans, Hispanic Americans, serve those communities and provide disaster loans. And for the last 30, 40 years, even with climate change causing more and more spectacularly damaging disasters, because yes, climate change is fucking real, the Congress has failed to expand the Small Business Administration to help the Small Business Administration better serve the American public when they are devastated by a natural disaster. Houses swept off the top of hilltops in North Carolina. They are still finding bodies. Houses burned to a crisp in Los Angeles. And today, a tornado touched down in Los Angeles. And those folks need this help. And mind you, this is a loan. It's not like this is free money that the federal government is giving to homeowners and renters and small business owners. This is a loan, albeit a low-cost loan. And many of these loan specialists don't even understand the concept that a corporate entity could be the sole owner of another corporate entity. This is what you are facing. So how do you deal with that if you're going to apply for disaster loan? Prepare, prepare, prepare. That's why we have our resource hub, to help prepare you. There's a chapter on how to speak to the SBA. There are templates on letters and emails and forms. Everything you need to know that comes out of my expertise is in the resource hub. The SBA forms you will be required to fill out on the My SBA portal are in the resource hub with instructions on how to correctly fill them out. By example, during the pandemic, We did a video on SBA Form 2202, which is a schedule of liabilities for a small business, where the business will put down all of the business debts that come due after longer than 12 months. Because there was so much confusion around that concept. We did a video among our many hundreds of other videos we did. And how many views did we get on that Form 2202? I mean, that video exploded during the pandemic because people don't know how to fill out these forms.
All right, let's continue.
So, disaster loan folks, we wish you the best. Application, reconsideration, appeal, and the best way to improve your chances of success is to take your time to prepare before you fill out anything on the My SBA portal. Watch our playlist of disaster loan videos. They're free. Okay.
All right.
We're going to answer a couple of questions, then we're going to move on to the next section. So let me scroll back
I
here.
don't know if Lisa's still here.
Well, I already answered Lisa Darden's question, which is the loans will not be forgiven. And she said, okay, thank you.
Yes, and then
Okay.
she said, how about a settlement?
Offer in compromise is not available for
Yes,
the
there we go.
COVID EIDL program. Okay. No, the IRS will not be eliminated.
All right, Jennifer.
Toshiba, I love Toshiba. He said, I'm going to rewind and catch up. I love this guy.
All right,
Love you guys. Okay.
Jennifer, stop going through comments.
Edgar, listen to the Smarty Pants. Hello, Jennifer Sabino. Hi, I'm so sorry to hear this, Jennifer. Jennifer, no, they do not allow for offer in compromise. Okay. We did a video about this the other day. Jennifer, what you need to do is hire an attorney and file bankruptcy. That's the brutal truth that most small business owners don't want to hear. But in your case, and we are very sorry to hear of your health issue, and we wish you a successful and speedy recovery, Jennifer. Hire an attorney. We are not attorneys. This is not legal advice. I have found several attorneys here on YouTube who all have said that the COVID EIDL program, the loans can be included in bankruptcy. No, we do not have any referrals to attorneys, so I'm sorry we can't answer that. But I would recommend contacting your local bar association or your state bar association and asking for a referral to an attorney who has experience with bankruptcy, number one, and number two, with the SBA COVID EIDL. You must say the COVID EIDL program, because a lot of attorneys we have discovered confuse the EIDL program with regular SBA loans. Wish you well, Jennifer.
Cookie.
Kezinch. Oh,
That's Edgar.
wait, I thought Pistol Pete was Edgar.
No.
Oh.
No.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so,
Pistol Pete, I apologize. Edgar, I apologize. Okay.
all right, so Cookie has a question. Stop messing with the comments.
Hey, listen, I am in control over here. Okay.
Cookie is talking about.
Besides, you got to see all these comments. I didn't see any of them because I was busy blabbering.
I know.
Don't say I know like that.
Yes,
Okay.
I know. And Cookie wants to know about a hardship extension. And she said, can I apply and get an extension for the first time? I've been paying, but things are not going
You
well.
can get 4 extensions, Cookie. The hardship program will allow you to lower your payments for a total of 2.5 years in 6 consecutive 6-month periods. So you get your first hardship accommodation extension for 6 months. It reduces your payment down to 10% or a minimum payment of $25, 10% of your regular monthly payment, or $25, whichever is greater. Once the 6-month period ends, you can request an extension for an additional 6 months, also at a 10% value of the total payment, or $25, whichever is greater. When that second 6-month period ends, you can request another extension, but your payment will go up to 50% of the required payment. Once that 6-month period ends, you can request a further extension for another 6 months, and that will be 75% of your regular monthly payment. And then the final 6-month period is the same thing, 75%. If your loan is less than $200,000, You can request the hardship accommodation and the extension directly on your profile for the loan on the MySBA portal. If it's more than $200,000, you must send an email to cesc@sba.gov, which is COVID EIDL Servicing Center. All the fools at Reddit yell at me all the time going, "It's COVID EIDL Servicing Center, dude. Ma, can I get some more pizza down here? My friends and I are playing war games." Yeah, I did that, okay, because that's what I think of the idiots on Reddit. cesc@sba.gov is the same email as COVID EIDL Servicing Center at SBA.gov. Do not call the SBA. You are wasting your time. Send an email, put your loan number in the subject line, and put hardship accommodation request. SBA loan number, boom. And the body of the email say, I hereby request hardship or I request extension of the hardship. Okay, Linda Ray, next question.
Oliver has, is it possible to get a second hardship accommodation after we go through the 3 phases of the first?
There's no three. Okay, I just explained that. There's no 3 phases. There's 5 total
1.5 years.
consecutive 6-month periods. The first one is 6 months. The second one is 6 months. Third, fourth, fifth, all 6-month periods. 10% in the first 2, 50% of the payment on the third, and 75% of the payment on the final 2. Dennis, evening. Have a home reno RPR business. Most of the revenue is generated from management from REOs. I don't know what your question is, Dennis. And as we said at the outset of our broadcast, folks, if you have a question, please be very specific and clear and put an entire question into a single comment box. Because as you've already seen, Linda Ray is yelling at me for doing this on the screen of my iPad, flipping around, looking at questions and comments. You know,
Lenny Caravan has a question, right?
Hello, Lenny. I have a question. I filed for a hardship application because mine is over and they have not emailed me back with the form. Okay, so here's the process. You send the email and you get an automated reply, typically within 24 hours, and it says, we've received your request, forwarded to the appropriate department. You will hear back within 7 to 10 days. And then 7 to 10 days later, you get an email with the application attached, Lemmy. And although I recently saw that the application showed up 3 days later. If I would actually say, just send the email in again. And Lemmy, you must use the original email address that was used to apply for the original COVID EIDL application. If you use a different email address, that may be the reason why you haven't gotten a response, because they might be responding to the other email address. Also, be sure you check your spam folder. I mentioned earlier that thanks to the knuckleheads in our Congress who have failed to support the SBA properly for decades, the SBA's technology is more than 15 years out of date with current technology. And we see every single day of the week, to this day, that SBA emails go into the spam folder. So our encouragement and advice to folks is to actively check your spam folder twice a day, morning and afternoon, when you are interacting with the SBA. Go into the spam folder, go into the search box and type in SBA so that your spam folder, if you get a lot of spam, if you get a lot of junk, because you do not want to miss it. Because the other thing we've seen, so Lemmy, you can change the email address. You have to call SBA on that. You call the COVID EIDL Servicing Center,
Even though you just told them not to call?
Yeah, but for this you can call 833-853-5638. Okay. You want to call and they can assist you with changing the email address. It is very complicated to do, by the way, and especially since the new administrator, Kelly Loeffler, thinks you're all criminals. They are flagging files for fraud left, right, and center because they think that everybody out here in the world is a criminal. You know, when we know who the real criminals are, Doge. Did I say that out loud? Okay.
Yes.
Linda, what's our next question? Then we're going to move on to the next segment.
Yeah, the next question.
My dad died. I'm so sorry to hear that, SM. Our deep and sincere condolences for you and your family. They won't stop harassing you. Okay. Number one, are you sure that's the SBA calling you? Because just last night I showed Linda how my personal cell phone has been blowing up for the last couple of weeks with scammers. You are pre-approved. You are, we're all kinds of scams, which I want to point out under President Biden, the FCC and the FTC enforced the actual rules against these criminals scam calling our cell phones. And I don't know if you noticed this, but the robocalls dropped off dramatically because President Biden's administration did their job. But now we got, felons and rapists and criminals in Washington, D.C. So criminals are just jumping on the bandwagon, and my phone has been blowing up. So SM, you want to be careful that some of those calls are not, I wouldn't answer the phone. I wouldn't answer at all. Deal with them by email, SM, cesc@sba.gov. Send in the death certificate and the loan number, and you will probably get a loan specialist emailing you back, because this just happened 2 weeks ago with one of our clients. In fact, we did a video about it. Linda, is it possible you could post the link?
I did. I put it in the comments.
So we've had people comment on that video about one of our clients died, and his business manager is handling the disposition of the, well, not the disposition of the estate, but the shutting down of the SBA loan. And I had her submit an email, and the SBA rep called her and said, all we need is a death certificate, and the loan doesn't have to be paid back. But I don't trust that, because then they got an email with a whole list of things: business assets, probate of the will, et cetera, et cetera. Bottom line, SM, is that if you don't already have an attorney, we strongly recommend you hire an attorney to manage the probate, including letting the attorney deal with the Small Business Administration and or the executor of the estate if there was a will. Okay, we're going to move to the next segment.
No, I'm sorry.
But wait.
Cobb.
Ann Cobb.
Her husband died.
Oh my God, Ann, I'm so sorry. Yes, Ann, since you've already hired and paid an attorney, just call your attorney and say, does your attorney have experience with the COVID EIDL program?
Yeah. And then
there's nowhere, Ann, unfortunately, to get any more information on, because we're not attorneys, so I don't know. I mean, look, the COVID EIDL would be included in the bankruptcy like any of the other debts. Let's say the business has a loan for equipment and, a lease for rent, whatever debts would be included in the bankruptcy, the COVID EIDL would go into that. And your attorney can start by sending an email. Actually, you should probably do it using the original email address and that you used for the COVID application. Send an email to cesc@sba.gov and put bankruptcy and the SBA loan number, and then copy your attorney on the email, and then the SBA will send your email to the legal department. We spoke with somebody recently who filed bankruptcy, and their attorney is engaged dealing directly with an attorney for the SBA.
Is this the right email? CS.
No.
Oh
my God, get that off the screen.
Okay, what is it? What is it?
Listen.
You just said it.
Try to keep up.
Yeah, what is it?
Try to keep up, Linda Ray.
You said it so fast. I didn't.
CESC@SBA.gov. Hey!
I didn't do that.
CESC@SBA.gov. Okay. Before we go to the next segment, I'd like to review that comment.
What?
About the interest.
Yes,
Can we do that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. The comment is, here we go. Oh, let me take the banner down.
Okay. This comment appeared on one of our videos, our YouTube videos.
You're like barely seeing over the dashboard. All right, cut it out. That's pretty funny. I'll get a video of that.
We have two giant raccoons hanging out in the back of the property over here. 1 o'clock in the morning a couple of weeks ago, they were screaming at each other in the woods. We live in Connecticut in in the country, which we love because I'm from New York City and Linda's from Westchester County, which she thinks is New York City. It's not, by the way. It is not the city, Linda. Where I come from, we call where Linda comes from upstate. In any event, these two raccoons are huge. So I had this new flashlight, which is like this powerful searchlight. And I pointed it out there in the woods, and you see their eyes flashing in the dark, and they stopped. They stopped screaming. Okay. So this comment appeared on one of our videos.
Read it out loud.
The major thing I don't agree with on the COVID loans was this. Once I got the load, take a load off Annie. Take a load for free. Take a load off Annie. And you put the load right on me.
All right.
Boom, boom. Okay, once I got the loan, it was coming time to start my payments. I got an email and a letter in the mail saying, don't pay your payment. Okay. If you notice in this comment, we removed the name of the person who wrote this comment because we don't want to embarrass them any further, because they've done a very good job here of embarrassing themselves. Because the letter and the email you got from SBA did not say don't make your payment. And then they go on to say 6 months approach, another letter, don't make a payment. It did not say that. And then they continue. Then finally we got another letter. Don't make a payment. It did not say don't make a payment. What it said was, we here at the SBA have kindly extended your deferment period of you not having to make a payment. You read the letter wrong. And, this goes to a lot of the things that we complain about with small business owners who just rush through things and shortcut this and shortcut that and don't take the time to properly read and understand. And not for nothing, I know I always say don't call the SBA, but you could have called the SBA and said, hey, listen, I got this letter, I don't really understand it. And they actually would have explained this correctly to you. I know because I called and had multiple clients on conference calls. The SBA explained this, how the deferred payment period works, which was that you did not have to make any payments, but you could if you wanted to. There was nothing to stop you except for the SBA's terrible management of the repayment system. It's a whole other story. The letters never said, don't make your payment. The letters said, you don't have to make a payment because we have deferred the payments until this date. Ultimately, it was deferred a total of 30 months from the date of the very first loan you got. People got multiple increases. If you remember, you got an initial loan, it's probably $150,000, and you could have requested an increase up to $500,000 for the amount you're eligible for, and then finally up to $2 million, depending on your eligibility based on your revenue of your business. A lot of people make the mistake to think the 30-month deferment started when they got the last increase. It started when you got the very first $150,000 or whatever loan you got. So this person says, the SBA hit us with 18 months of interest. This was never disclosed to me, dude.
Oh, here we go.
Okay.
What do you want? Which one first?
Okay. Before we go to the next screen, okay. It's not fair to charge you interest from day one. All right, Linda, let's bring up the next screen.
Is it this one?
The one, no, it is not that one.
This one?
Linda, I literally put the, okay, you're allowed to be completely disconnected tonight because you're on holiday. Okay. This is the loan authorization agreement. This is literally the cover page of the loan agreement. And it says, carefully read the loan authorization agreement. This document describes the terms and conditions of your loan. It is your responsibility to comply with all the terms and conditions of your loan. Next screen, Linda. Interest will accrue on funds actually advanced from the date of each advance, which, as I just said, is from the initial $150,000. Hold on. What's the next line? Each payment will be applied first to interest accrued. I got nothing else.
Pretty simple. Oh, Pistol Pete, thanks for coming on tonight.
Okay, we're going to move on to the next segment, which is about compliance with the COVID EIDL program. Oh, what do you want to do?
I don't know. Does everyone know?
Hello, Linda Ray. By the way, anybody remember when cell phones were this big? I do.
Does anyone seriously think
I do.
EIDLs are going to be
My first cell phone was from Radio Shack. It was this big. I'd be on the phone. My arm would hurt after a 30-second phone call. What did you say?
Does anyone really think forgiveness is still going to happen?
All right, let's go to the next section and do forgiveness. And we're back. Oh, I have to flip my script over to forgiveness. Okay. I can't really read it. It's so dark in here. Who set up the lights in this joint? Tonight, we're going to address all the folks who have been commenting for the better part of the last 4 years with magical thinking that these COVID EIDLs will not be forgiven. I'm going to show you magical thinking. Oh, wait, those are both the same book. No, that's The Return of the King. That's The Fellowship. That's magical thinking. I'm telling you, that is some magical thinking. Tom Bombadil. One ring to rule them all. That's magical thinking. You know what else is magical thinking? Thinking that the COVID EIDL loans will be forgiven. They will never be forgiven. I've been saying that for 4 years, but under this new administration, they have one objective. We did a video about it, so please go and look at the video. As a reminder, if you get any value from my commentary this evening, please like the video. Please subscribe to our channel. 70% or more of the folks who watch our videos are not subscribers. Can you believe that? Would you please subscribe to our channel? Hit the bell. We don't publish lots of videos, so it's not like we're going to bombard your email inbox with notifications of videos, but we hope that you think these videos are important enough that you want to be notified when we publish them. If you are dealing with the SBA, as a couple of the people this evening came on, we would recommend every one of you purchase our EIDL Resource Hub. Click on the link in the description for that. Okay, since many folks don't seem to want to listen to my expert analysis and advice, tonight, we're going to show you the evidence so you can tell me I'm wrong about these loans getting forgiven. Insert B-roll, Linda.
Insert B-roll. Wait. Yes. I'm sorry. I actually lost track of where the...
Hello, Linda. You got one job. One job, girl. One job. This is Senator Joni Ernst of Iowa, who was the ranking Republican on the Small Business Entrepreneurship Committee in the U.S. Senate, who is now the chairperson of that committee. This is what she spends her time yelling about. Next. Oh, there we go. Look at the date, January 13th, 2025. Do you think this woman is... Oh, look, January 3rd, 2024. Ernst forces Biden's SBA to collect on billions of delinquent pandemic loans. Those are all those loans that were sent to collections, like Oliver's loan. Oliver, we're happy we helped you. You helped my company so much, and we got our loan back to the SBA from the Treasury Offset Program. It was stuck there for a year. We couldn't find a way. Can never thank you enough. Namaste. It's our pleasure, Oliver. So can we go back to that last banner? Look at that. This is what Senator Ernst, a Republican, the Republicans always say they support business. They're full of shit. They are lying sacks of shit. I'm from New York City. Yep. And when we say that to you, where I come from in Queens, it's bad. It's very bad.
What about this one?
This is June 27th, 2023. Senator Ernst, Biden's SBA must recover fraud, not loosen lending standards. This is when she was the ranking Republican
Oh, you're on
Okay.
the wrong side. You got to move over.
Senator Ernst urges SBA to collect debts on $72 billion of COVID. This is what, and there's a Republican on the House, the House of Representatives Small Business Committee with the same type of impetus and initiative demanding the SBA do better. They're not talking about forgiveness. They have never even mentioned the word forgiveness. Listen, the Democrats haven't done much better because they could have talked about forgiveness also. But apparently, they didn't want to touch political hot potato items because,
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Next.
So we did the B-roll.
Doing the B-roll for
The comments that we see from magical, fantastical thinking EIDL borrowers, we often wonder if these business owners have exhausted every effort to manage improvements in their business to manage repayment. Such as with that comment we saw a little while ago, people actually reading the loan agreement and understanding. The other element about that comment when he says that person, and it was a he, we left his name off, but it was a he, when he says, they told me, they lied to me, listen, there is no nefarious evil they. It's not like the Death Eaters in the Harry Potter movies where there's actually a they, or the Dementors, right? There's no they. It's the Small Business Administration, which is an overworked, overwhelmed, underfunded bureaucracy. But in the case of that comment, this person is blaming they. But that person didn't take the time to read the loan agreement. This is what we have been railing and ranting and raving about for 4 years, 5 years. Take the time. Look at your business. Take a cold, hard look in the mirror and decide, maybe I can't pay this loan back because I have to close this business. It's never going to be successful. I spoke to several of our clients in recent weeks who have come to that decision. It's difficult to do because it's your passion, it's your dream, you want to own it. But if you cannot find a way to manage the repayment, then it is time to get better sleep at night by moving on, closing your business, hiring an attorney, filing bankruptcy.
Bye, Toshiba.
I want to remind you, folks, that these loans that you got, and they were loans, they were not grants. Nobody ever said their loans were forgiveness. Linda, where's the video from the SBA website that I gave you?
Oh, you want that?
That's what it says. Insert B-roll.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is
Is that what this says on the script there? I mean, that is the script. Insert B-roll.
3 of them.
Yeah, roll them all.
Oh, okay. Well,
Oh, okay.
Here's, yeah, so this is Scott. You can talk over this. This is the Tim Scott website.
Yeah, it's not the one I want. I want the screenshot of the SBA website where it says, and it zooms in, that says these loans are not forgivable.
Okay, let's see. Nope, I don't know where it is.
Nope.
I don't
not
know.
it.
Sorry.
You had one job.
I had one job.
She had one job, folks.
Honestly, you gave me so much, and I don't remember that one from the SBA. I took everything from.
I'll tell you what, it's a good thing we're talking about disaster loans tonight because this broadcast so far has been a disaster. Okay. She's laughing over there. I'm laughing too. She's my girl. But I can promise you I'm going to yell at her after we finish this. Okay. So listen, when you applied for the loan, except for the early days of it, going into 2021, they required the tax returns, they required the tax transcripts, and they underwrote the loan based upon your revenue, which was, they used math to say, okay, this business can afford this loan. And they gave you the loan under that concept of repayment, which is how I was a lender for 30 years. That's how we lenders think. Does this person have the ability to repay the loan? We literally call it ability to repay. And then on top of that, the Small Business Administration gave you 30 months of deferred payments. Let's just stop with the accrued interest and being pissed off about that. I mean, it's a 30-year loan. You're going to pay interest, okay? Deal with it, man.
All right.
But you had 30 months to come up with a plan. Did you do the work that you needed to do to determine if you could repay this loan? Show me. Tell me. Okay. Let's answer some questions.
Yes, Cookie. We still have the same.
Yes, Cookie. We had the same one. What does Lemmy say? Never listen to the trolls.
Oh, yeah.
There are many of us who treasure your advice, pay for it, and understand everything can't be free. The complainers suck. Terrible people. Lemmy, I love you, man. Thank you. Totally. By the way, just so you know, with a name like Trevor, okay, I'm going to give you the list. This is what people, I was born in England, okay? Came here on a boat, 1963. I had an English accent nowadays. And folks in America have a really hard time, in many cases, pronouncing my name, Trevor. Treasure is one of the abuses of the name Trevor. Just so you know, Lemmy. Okay. Next comment. Linda Ray. What do we got?
Swear works.
Can't answer that question because we are not attorneys. Please consult with your bankruptcy attorney. Next question.
That's it.
That's it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. So.
Linda says you think the SBA fired 20% of their staff. Okay.
Yeah. That's us. I said that because Pistol Pete said that Doge was gut cutting.
Ann Cobb, we love you, and we're so sorry to hear about your husband passing.
Yeah.
And we hope that you can get through this challenging time with some sense of peace and tranquility.
All right. Compliance.
I'm going through the comments because I want to see what else I got here.
Well, I could do the transition.
Jennifer, you are quite welcome.
Dead air.
Dead air, dead air, dead air, dead air, dead air. Dennis, you are quite welcome. It is our pleasure.
Question, we didn't understand this question.
Oh, okay. Well, I just see somebody saying thank you, so I'm just responding to that. Okay. Good night, Toshiba. All right, Linda, let's go to the next segment, which is compliance with the COVID EIDL program.
All right. That's it.
Wow, that was like the shortest transition screen in history. Okay, compliance with the SBA program. Let's see, what did I write here? Because we're going to make this quick.
Yeah.
So we can zoom right through it.
Well, you're not starting off.
Oh, I'll tell you what, you are all very lucky because you know what I wrote for Section 3 SBA COVID EIDL appliance? Hold on. It's one sentence. Look at that. That's it. It's one sentence. Read your EIDL loan agreement. All right, so if there's no other questions, I think we're going to call it a night, Linda Ray.
Oh, okay.
And maybe watch some Harry Potter.
That sounds good.
Just so you know, Linda is on hiatus, and you know it's winter in New England. Although today was a gorgeous spring-like day, the robins were all out, dozens of robins on the grass on our property. But yesterday I went to the store, a little basic grocery shopping, and I came home with an Entenmann's cake. If you're on the West Coast, you may never have heard of Entenmann's, but if you're on the East Coast, you probably know about Entenmann's. I'm from Queens, where, you know, hey, it's an Entenmann's cake. It is the cake. I got the Louisiana crunch cake. So we're going to watch Harry Potter, and I've been taking Linda through all the DVDs. Which one are we up to? We're in the middle of the Order of the Phoenix.
You can't get through. Why?
Well, we don't want to talk about why we can't get through it, but we're going to have some Louisiana crunch cake, and I got Linda some lovely Madagascar vanilla bean Talenti gelato. So we're going to have
Thanks,
that.
everybody.
Thank you all for joining us. And again, if you found any help, any value, any humor in our witty banter back and forth here in front of our dining room fireplace, please like and subscribe. And please share the video with somebody who may find this information useful. And again, if you are interacting with the SBA, I know you think you don't need it. I know you think you don't want to spend the money. Maybe you think it's too expensive. But we've had people who have used our EIDL resource hub who have come back and said, oh my God, thank God I bought it.
All right. Outro.
Click on the link in the description. We created a guidebook way back when, June of 2020. It was 3 pages of us giving plain English translations of the EIDL loan agreement for our first 40 clients that we helped to get approved for the COVID-19 EIDL program. But here we are in 2020, and I have to tell you, it's not a guidebook. Is that a joke? Well, it's not a joke. We've wrestled with this concept of calling it a guidebook. It was a downloadable PDF where I put all of the distilled expertise from my loan officer brain, 30 years as a mortgage loan officer, now 4.5 years with the COVID-19 EIDL program. And I've worked on thousands of interactions with the SBA since March of 2020. And I've distilled all that information and put it into a downloadable PDF with easy to follow step-by-step instructions, templates that I created for emails or phone conversations or letters that I have used successfully for our clients. But we don't do that anymore. No, because it's not a guidebook. It's not a guidebook. It's not a guidebook. It is a resource hub. Click on the link in the description and access the EIDL resource hub, where you will find not only downloadable PDFs with step-by-step instructions for any of the many different procedures and interactions you have to make with the SBA to manage your COVID-19 EIDL loan, from setting up repayment to prepaying the loan early, to information about the interest that you're paying on the loan, information about the hardship accommodation program, change of ownership, change of address, selling collateral, bringing in investors, selling equity, all of that. It's all there. Plus an exclusive private playlist of my instructional videos, similar to the videos that we put here on YouTube during the pandemic, that we're pretty sure folks used our videos. We've heard from people who said, I used your videos. Thank you for the instructions, which were free. The EIDL Resource Hub has a private playlist of instructional videos on anything that is involved in your COVID loan. So click on the link in the description.